Hey, buddy, how's everybody doing tonight? That was really weird. It did not want to. It was weird. Didn't want to start once I clicked on go live. Had to refresh. So, yeah. Well, you know the answer now. You know the answer now. Ethan, hey, congratulations on the first. You get credit for being first tonight. So, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody had a good weekend so far. This pop out chat live. Move that to here. And then get this. All right, we are all set. Like I said, hope everybody's having a very good night so far. Hope you're having a good weekend. Oh, really? Hmm. The hurricane days off were nice. You're just traveling on the land like Darrell Brooks. Well, we'll get to him. We'll get to him. Daniel, yep. Hello from Van Wert. Hope you're doing well out there. Now you guys got a lot of rain too. I know we got a ton. Did I see this? Did I see the gun self defense research paper released a couple days ago? No, I did not. If you would send it to me, it's let me send it to me. I'll take a look at it. Weekend, it's Thursday, yeah, but we're getting ready for the weekend. Tomorrow's Friday. So it's kind of like one of my favorite like parts of the week is like Thursday evening. Let's talk more about chili. We will, but there's as much as I'd like to talk about that dildo stain tonight, there's actually some real things I think we need to talk about, and there's a very big one. Ethan or Uncivil did a video on the paper. I'll take a look for it, see if I can find it from there. I do plan on putting something together about Chili this weekend. For being as smart as he is, he really fucked up lately in his lawsuits. You know, A Dubs is Brooks the hero we need or the one we deserve. You know, that's something we'll have to learn. We'll have to learn. Nero FL89 saying he hears Iran is about to do a boogaloo. Well, we'll see because like 2 years ago, they had a boogaloo that was about to happen and people were setting banks on fire and rebelling against the government. Then COVID happened. And then there was the Green Revolution, which got put down. Maybe we'll have something this time. I don't know. It sounds like it's picking up and getting a little more serious. I resemble that remark. He's the king of maritime law. Yes, he is. He knows how to steer his ship. And we'll talk about him. Say, I wonder, is Andrew still going? I'll just go shill that. Oh, well, they're still going, so we'll leave them alone. Alpha Fox saying, "What up, Road Pirate?" Not much, fella free man. What is the issue with the sovereign citizen having the flag having gold fringe? Okay. So, gold fringe. Okay, and we'll bring this up as an example. Sorry, I'm trying to find a good example. Gold fringed flag. Typed in the wrong word there for a minute. That gave me a different Google result. Okay. Oh, damn it. Where is it? Come on. All right, here. Gold fringed. Okay. So we'll get to this here. What does a gold fringe flag mean? Well, that came about in the 19th century, and a gold fringe flag like this was meant for military use traditionally. You could also claim it's also in an admiralty court, so it's something for a court martial, which is technically what it used to be up until the, you know, probably through most of the 19th century, but by the end of the 19th century, it was showing up on flags everywhere. This doesn't violate the flag code. It's not considered an unauthorized alteration to it. So after a while, civilian flags started having these adorned on it. So they do make the argument that this is a military flag, and if you were around in 1830, that would be a military flag if you saw that. Now, I don't know how that argument would have gone if you made a claim in a court in 1830 that's a military flag and this is not a court martial, therefore you can't try me. I'm not sure what a court would have done, but that's the issue with sovereign citizens. They make some arguments that are correct, but they're like 150 to 200 years too late. I plan on doing a bunch of stuff about them coming up, but I hope that's a crash course that kind of helps you out. Yes, Adam, I did get your email about him. I I sent him. I'm going to reach out to him and see what goes on. Yes, this you're right. This time in Iran, it's different because everybody's mad, and I think so. I think it'll be a little different. What the fuck is that picture size? It was the first one on Google I could get. Yes, it's an Attorney Tom size. It's so little. So microscopic. Yeah, among other things. Among other things. All right, guys, we're past the 5 minute mark, so we're gonna start. Fabian Esparza, are we gonna talk about Biden walking around and acting retarded? Well, Mr. Burns doesn't act retarded, so that's not fair to Mr. Burns, bro. Come on. Bren, hello, how are you? I didn't say hi earlier. Sorry, I'm just checking in chat, make sure we're all set. No, we're gonna talk about something else. So if you guys haven't noticed, uh well, I'm not sure how to put this. There is a pipeline out in the Baltic Sea called the Nordstream Pipeline. And it had an oopsie poopsie. At some point, they found this out in the middle of the Baltic. Where is it? Where did I put that picture? And unlike the Beverly Hillbillies, this is not a good sign. That was taken from a fighter plane in the Danish Air Force patrolling the Straits of Denmark. That is directly over the Nord Stream 1 pipeline. And that is natural gas escaping out of the pipeline. A lot of natural gas. And it's a big, big, big disruption. The seismologists that were surveilling things in the Baltic Sea detected 4 explosions, or what they determined to be explosions, in the areas where the pipelines are. Now, some of you might think, okay, well, what's the deal with the pipeline? This pipeline is one of the primary ways Russia transports natural gas to Germany and the rest of Europe, which, if you didn't know, is one of the major energy uses for most of Central Europe. They are heavily reliant upon Russian natural gas. And this goes all the way back through the Cold War. There were pipelines already crossing the Iron Curtain. It was one of the ways the Russians made money was by selling natural gas. So since things have gone on in Ukraine and Germany is helping the Ukrainian military, Russia has slowly been turning the tap off to almost non-existent levels. Now, you might wonder, Well, why is there gas in the pipeline? Well, the pipelines are kept pressurized to keep them safe and to keep them in functional working order. So this is gas that was just shoved in there to keep the pipeline going. Now, why is it a problem that there is an explosion? Well, think about these pipelines. They are 4 centimeter thick steel, and 4 centimeters is inches is roughly 4 centimeters is roughly an inch and a half thick steel pipe. And on top of that steel pipe is 11 centimeters of what they claim is 11 centimeters of concrete, which is about 5 inches of concrete. So think about what you have to do to knock a hole through 5 inches of concrete and then an inch and a half of high grade steel that's highly pressurized. Well, you're not going to have an accident. You're not just going to drop your anchor on the line. You're going to have a bad day. So something happened. And like I said, somebody accidentally put a hole in the Nordstream pipeline. So who did it? Because now the pipeline's ruined. And we don't know. Nobody knows yet. NATO is claiming it was sabotage, which kind of like no shit. Like, yeah, there's sabotage. It just didn't blow up on its own. But who did it? Well, it's only a couple 100 feet down. So the idea of using divers to go plant charges on it, that's not out of the question. The US can do that. Germany can do that. Poland can do that. Russia can do that. Britain can do it. Pretty much any of the countries in the Baltic could do that also. Norway, Sweden, those dirty Swedes are behind it all, or even the Finns. They have the capabilities. But there also could have been a submersible remote controlled vehicle, very much like what went to explore the Titanic or the Bismarck. Who knows what did it? The issue is who. Well, that's a problem because whoever did this, that's an act of ecological terrorism. Blowing up massive civilian infrastructure like that. And thank God it wasn't an oil pipeline. Imagine what would have happened. That would have been really, really bad. And then if you guys remember, we talked about this. Hold on here. We talked about this back during the Russian invasion when they encountered the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. You are allowed to attack things that are dangerous forces in the community. Works and installations containing dangerous forces. Why? Well, if it's part of your military objective, you can do it, but you cannot intentionally destroy it and cause harm to people or the environment. So, who did this? Well, if somebody did this, I'd argue this is a war crime and or a crime against humanity. So, there's a lot of factors here going on. Now, who did it? Well, the Russians were going to use the fact it's going to get cold in Germany. And who mentioned this here? Yeah, the reality of a second life said it's going to be a cold winter in Europe without gas for heating. Sure, they're trying to get their gas from Norway right now. But part of Russia's plan, a lot of people believed, was they were going to put the screws to Europe and say, these guys are cold. You're cold. Stop supporting Ukraine and we'll turn on the gas again. And that was going to stop support for Ukraine. Well, now that can't happen. This is almost like the scene in A Bronx Tale where Sonny walks up and closes the door to the bar and locks it, and then they beat the crap out of the bikers. Well, now Germany can't leave. Germany has to fight. Germany has to now turn around and fully support Ukraine. So does the rest of Europe. So I don't think Russia did that because then they lose the only ability to bargain with. Could NATO have done this? Maybe. Could the Ukrainians have gone out and done this on their own like a bunch of lunatics? That's a possibility. Could the CIA and the US government have done something completely and absolutely 100% stupid and done this? Yes, they've done crap like this before. Um Yeah, Nero, that's what I hope I made that clear. That's the leftover gas pressurizing the pipes to keep them safe. They had to have torpedoed that thing. No, I mean there's all kinds of shape charges and things you can do, cutting charges that there would be underwater demolition experience, but that's not hard to get a hold of. Okay, also real quick. Yeah, Matthew, I think you're gonna lose that bet, brother. I'm not wearing suspenders, yes, because it's way after hours now. Yes, at least it's not oil. If Germany only had nuclear power, they did, but then they shut it down. You would think a pipeline would have a pressure loss alarm, but I guess those alarms cost money. Well, they do have the alarms, but the Danes don't have control over the pipeline, so they just saw the gas coming out. And I'm sure if you read that and saw like the pipeline alarm screaming, "Oh my god, the pipeline's destroyed," it wouldn't make any sense because you're not using it. Prem is saying, "Let me pull down my pants and I could show you 4 centimeters." Ooh, ooh, very feisty. 6 hour, it's thick enough for me. Thick. Ah! Yes, you'll have a yes. Yes, accidentally. The CIA did it. I think they were involved. It wouldn't surprise me at this point. He dubs Greenpeace is back. Sorry, I'm catching up on some of this here. Um, Prama is saying this is the one case where I'd want to be France. Yes, France has a massive nuclear power industry. The problem is France recently had a massive safety recall issue where they're having to retrofit a ton of the plants, so their power production is really decreased right this moment. They're getting their plants back online, but they had a massive safety problem they had to address. Alpha Fox is saying it's Sam Hyde. Yes. Yes. He keeps getting away with this. Yes, David Davidson. They use thermite paint. Name one time the CIA hasn't done something stupid. Yeah. So, just going through this a little real quick. They talk about, yes, the Nordstream pipelines lay on the Baltic Sea, but it doesn't make any sense for the Russians to do it. This is a massive, you know, okay, this is not some casual terrorist act. Yes, but the whatever governmental organization did this did commit a terrorist act because this is a massive enlargement of the theater of war. We're no longer just fighting in eastern Ukraine. We are now fighting, in the on the European continent. This is a massive escalation. So whoever did this threw down a massive punk card and is daring the other side to pick it up. Um, yes, privately, everyone's concerned this is a Kremlin-inspired piece of sabotage. But why would they do it? They've already done their mobilization, which, okay, sounds like it's a dumpster fire. But why wouldn't they've done this first and then galvanize their country? Yeah, I get it. They're Russians and they're orcs, but something doesn't make sense here. They've also now, like I said, lost their one major way of trying to strong arm Europe into getting what they want come winter time. Now they can't. I mean, the pipeline is severely damaged, and I don't know if they can afford to fix it. Uh, Spokespersons for the government of Ukraine and Poland agreed that Russia was behind the attack. Yes, but there was that Polish member of parliament who said, "Thank you, America," which isn't really good to see. So, and here's the thing: Putin was talking about if you want more natural gas, lift the sanctions. I'll give you. I'll give you gas. The bottom line is, if you have an urge, if it's so hard for you, just lift the sanctions. Just push the button and we'll get going. Russia's just like, come on, guys. Quit being dicks and we'll give you all the gas. So, like I said, I don't believe it's the Russians. So because this was their one major thing. And for people who want to understand where we're looking at here, I'm just bringing this up so you guys can see it. This is from the BBC, not that BBC, not Drex, like the actual BBC. This is the area where it happened near was Bornholm. That is a Danish island, but you see the pipeline start in, well, this is Vapori if you're Finnish and don't like the fact the Russians conquered this city in 1939. But the pipelines travel along the Baltic to Deutschland. And you would see here there are a couple of spots where there've been some oopsie poopsies, multiple oopsie poopsies, which yeah. So those are the pipelines. That's where they go if you want to understand what's happening there. Someone's got a lot of explaining to do. I also thought I was doing some research on this and I just thought there was some other neat information out there. There's the pipelines. This is really funny though. If you're here and you're looking at it, this is the Nordstream.com. If you want to look at it, look what it says. Nord Stream, a secure gas supply for Europe. That's a little bit of false advertising right now, bruh. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Not really secure right now. Especially after that. They might want to like, take a little white out and be like, right through that. Just say gas supply for Europe. Dot dot dot. Maybe. Dot dot dot. If we could fix this. Dot dot dot. So it's very interesting. And they talk about what's going on in the projects. They have a couple different things here where they talk about building an offshore pipeline, which is actually a really interesting pamphlet. They show you how they built it. There was a lot of work involved. They show you how they did the sections for it and how this has been a long-term project they've been preparing for. So I would recommend it. It's nordstream.com. It's really cool to go read if you have a couple of minutes, especially like a lot of you are sitting on the toilet. Let's be real. You're spending time on the toilet, and instead of TikToking on the toilet, you can read this stuff. So where did you guys end up at? Russia lost all leverage for negotiations. Really, and yeah, unless they start beating that ass, yeah, they're gonna have a rough time. And I don't know if they can do it. Matthew said, legal mindset mini rig. Cool. Thank you for stopping by. Okay. Yes, so a remote operated vehicle. Yeah, the little drone. Has anyone considered Memento Mori saying the CCP doing it? Maybe, but you're gonna have to find somebody who's gonna let you do that. And a couple of Chinese guys screwing around in the Baltic with some equipment is gonna be really hard to do. And the Chinese don't have that kind of submarine capability. They can get a submarine all the way to the Baltic submerged. There's just way too much. There's way too much military and civilian traffic to do that. Fox is saying Captain Paul will be out there saving whales. Yeah. M2 is saying the other thing I can think of is Russia might not care about Europe and did this to cause a bunch of infighting and distraction to try to interrupt arms shipments. Sure, but they'd have a lot more ability to interrupt the arms shipments by saying, you're going to freeze to death unless you stop. I think that's a far easier way. And then let Germany sell out, and that'll cause the rest of Europe to get pissed. And they'll still fight each other. Stephen Holbrook. Yes, you can put some Flex Seal on that. It's a lot of damage. Yes, the U.S. is fanning the flames in Iran, sending Starlink there. And if the Iranian protesters suddenly get guns, I will laugh. Oh, that won't be hard for them to do. Eventually, they'll have them before you know it. Registoge, General European War, my one dream. Hey, the European Peninsula is overdue for a war. They are overdue. They've had one. They've had one frequently every couple of decades. They've had a big one in history, going all the way back to the Romans. Yeah, Russia had the least motivation to do it. I agree. AC says the Russians aren't orcs. The orcs are black. Do you love orc people? Let's see here. What else you guys got going on? What if Russia went for the Hail Mary, hit the pipe, and blamed another country for sabotaging it? Sure, they could do a false flag, but there's no evidence that there's anything laying around or anything showing a false flag yet. Because part of doing the false flag is immediately saying, "Look, they blew it up, and there's an American flag floating on the water," or some guy named Bob dropped his car keys to his car. You need that stuff there, otherwise you don't have the false flag. So we haven't seen any of that yet. Yes, they are desperate, Mr. K. You're right. They are desperate to put Russia in a corner. Registoge, BBC blacked the Nordstream into bursting. Oh no! Oh no! 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 That would be rough. Yes, it's fucking over. Luke Pearson says that says no stream in Australian. Yes, Nard stream. What else here? Sorry guys, I'm trying to catch up. A-Dub saying, have they updated their day since last accident chalkboard? They're gonna have to. Mr. Squiggle says, I'm on the toilet right now. Your soothing voice helps me poo. Just keep pooing. Gently push. Don't push too hard. Just keep pushing. There you go. Keep going. Keep going. That's it. Plot twist, it was Germany with a remote operated vehicle inside the pipe. Yeah, that would be interesting. I suspect it's a NATO country did this without NATO's knowledge. So, yes, it could easily be the Germans. Or yes, this could easily be the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab. And they could be pulling some Spectre type shit, trying to get the US and Russia and NATO and Russia to go at it, just like in a James Bond movie. That could easily be a theory too. Gina said, haircut looks good. Thank you very much. I gotta attribute that all to my girlfriend. It was her idea. Start getting cut this way, changing it up many, many months ago. Prima saying, weapons to Iran? Does that mean crack will suddenly become much cheaper and available in US cities? Ooh, I see what you did there. No, you got to be careful because there's nobody from Central America we can buy the coke from. It's the shit whisperer. Yes, Alex Cal, the Soros goons. Yep. Yeah. Worse than booty goons, the Soros goons. Okay. Another one. Another thing. I guess we'll talk about Russia again, real quick. Russia has done a mobilization. And in that mobilization, they are getting people ready to go to Ukraine to fight. Well, a guy in Russia wasn't too happy with this. And at first, I thought it was him not wanting to get mobilized and sent to the army. But it turns out he actually did this because he went to the draft office and was mad because it was his friend getting sent to the army. Additionally, a guy in a town 100 miles from Moscow lit himself on fire. I mean, when if you're willing to, that takes some dedication. I mean, you're willing to light yourself on fire to do something. That's people who self-immolate, even though it's suicide. I got nothing but respect for you because that takes balls, especially when you're like on fire and you're just like, oh my god, it hurts. Like, good for you, man. That takes some balls. He did not want to fight in Ukraine, and like I said, there are other ways to avoid that. I mean, I would think about cutting off a foot or some toes first. But there is video of him doing this, and I don't know, we're what, 30 minutes in. Let's see how bad. Let's see how bad things get for us here. But we'll try this, and I don't know, maybe I'll get a strike. Everybody's getting struck right now. You're gonna want your. It gets loud, guys, so just be careful. Oh, oh, kill him! And there come the Russian police to get the guy. This was somewhere in Siberia, so it's a little colder and crappy out there once you get to well, it's October time now. So yeah, he shot that guy. I cannot comment necessarily on the laws of Russia, but I'm assuming that's some sort of murder, and they will probably prosecute him appropriately. So don't go murder people. Don't blow up pipelines. Those are my two legal tips for today. Don't engage in ecological terrorism. Really, don't. So Michael's saying, so she's not a fan of the Rakeda haircut special. I tried to do a drop fade once. It does not look good on my head. I don't know what it is about my head, but it something doesn't look good with it with a drop fade. I mean, yeah, if I could look like I'm going to take a half track halfway to Minsk in a heartbeat, sure, but it doesn't look good on me. The FARC for the win. Yeah, but that's no. The FARC, you got to roll with the AUC, man. The Auto Union. The Auto Defense Union. The FARC were a bunch of commies. But no, they got they got a lot of coke from Central America. And Nero says, what are you talking about? The CIA will fund it from their farms in South America. Yes. Mr. K says, I can't wait to hear about it on info. Wah. Aw. Yes, I know. The frog, here's the thing though. The frog man is resilient and he will not give up. Alex Jones will keep fighting. And I have faith he will. And yes, he will be able to talk about the globalist, you got the globalist cabal out there just trying to eat babies. Interdimensional vampires, I've seen it. I've seen this, I've seen the books. I've seen the pictures. They're just everywhere. You have to take that alpha force to keep your brain from getting manipulated by the globalists. Band.video. Go to band.video. Mr. K saying, you know how many drunk people I've seen set themselves on fire at something special? Well, that's a bit different. Have you discussed the potential involvement with the USS Kearsarge? Yes, the Kearsarge amphibious group was in the Baltics. So they were within like 30 kilometers. So that's far enough for submersibles to go. That Marine group, which was basically like a heavy reinforced battalion, probably had a SEAL platoon with it or part of a SEAL unit. Yeah, they could have done that operation. Could have been Marine recon guys doing it. Who knows? Primaries. Primaries saying if I went it out of the draft, I'd just cut off 4 centimeters. Yes. Yes. Yes, I think it's illegal. Yeah, it's illegal to shoot people in Russia. Unless you're in the police. Ethan saying don't engage in ecological terrorism. Yes, that is legal advice. You can 100% rely on. Luke Pearson is saying Dagestan is pretty mad right now too. Yes, Dagestan is one of the republics of Russia in southern Russia in the Caucasus area. It's right next to Chechnya, Dagestan, Ishkaria. They have a very heavy Muslim population as well. So yeah, it's not going well anywhere. Even in Chechnya, they're having issues. A common lawyer, don't murder people. This is not legal advice. Common source saying hi from Sapporo again. Thank you. It's so cool. People from all over are watching. Pretty neat. Memento Mori saying they won't be able to use those draftees or the remobilized guys soon. They need to train them up for a while. Yeah, it's going to take a while. They won't be ready till probably in the winter or early spring. Zero Fox says, "Pew pew people is fine in Russia. Just don't bring in dab vape pens." Yeah, that's the issue. We're catching up. Are you ever going to do a live stream of you reacting to Jones's testimony? I mean, at some point I might. I've got so many other things. I've got like a million things I'm doing. I mean, he is getting fucked. He is getting. Oh God, I was doing really good trying not to swear too much tonight. Let's see how long I can go. He's doing really good, and it's sad because he is getting hosed. It is disgusting what the plaintiff's attorney's done to him. But Alex Jones, you can see how smart of a guy he is. He tries to navigate these problems that have been set up for him, and he does pretty good at hitting back. I mean, just imagine what would happen at this trial if they actually gave him a fair shake. He never got the chance. Commissar said the future conflict dudes talked about that recently. Yeah, future conflicts, they talked about this on Wednesday, but yeah, it's interesting what's going to happen next with that pipeline. If whoever didn't do it has a problem. They have to respond in a fairly reciprocal fashion. Because if NATO did it, the Russians need to respond in a massive way. Or if Russia did it, NATO needs to respond in a massive way. And then it just becomes an issue of what do you do and how do you do it in a way where it's clear everybody knows that you know that what they did. And that becomes the issue. Mr. K says, that's how the Germans knew. I found the woman in the attic, but she does not have the papers. Papiersen. Well, how does she look with a fade? Parallax, yes, we have a new Discord, but it's already been spurred up a little bit, but that's what Discord's for. Let's not act like it's, anything but. We can't church it up. M2 is saying the Chechens are having issues in Ukraine. They are, but for a while they were beating that ass. The Chechens were being used as a shock unit. Eric Folmes is saying Khabib was drafted? Wow. That'll set a lot to determine what happens there. Wrestler Town says Brittany Griner. Yes. And they have all those felons they're letting loose. They should let her out, and there'll be footage of her on the front line. Fireman's carrying. I think I mentioned this with Andrew. She'll be on the. There'll be footage of her dragging people under fire out of the way. But I mean, what's she gonna do? Show them how to do layups? Sleeping psychopathy says it's never actually going good in Dagestan. Good is a relative term. If the army is not bulldozing houses with tanks and shooting it out with their version of Al Qaeda, it's going good. Oh, Uncle Bubba just gave 10 memberships? Oh, I need to get a second screen going. I keep forgetting to do this. Uncle Bubba gifted 10 memberships. Thank you very much, Uncle Bubba. That's awesome. I know everybody appreciates it who gets one. Well, a lot of people did. Yes, Commissars, the judge in Connecticut is horrible. Yeah, Bubba is a nice guy. Very nice guy. Harris is saying, what about the part where the judge loses control of the courtroom on the first day of testimony? Yeah, and I think maybe once it gets wrapped up, I'll do it. This month, I've got a couple of trials and I've got a couple of really big things. Fingers crossed everything kind of shakes out, but might be able to do something watching the Frogman and kind of covering it all. Memento Mori says if Ukraine did it, it's just warfare. But you're now carrying out attacks in foreign countries that are not involved in the conflict. You've widened the theater of war at that point. I don't know if it's warfare because US the US is dealing with Mexico and then somewhere up in Canada bombs a building. That's still terrorism. I don't know if I'd agree with that. So I think that would still be terrorism. Um News saying Khamenei's dead? Really? Okay. He might not. Yeah. Yeah, there are rumors swirling. Ooh. Yeah, he's not dead yet, but he might have he's got myocarditis. Ha! I wonder if that's for medical treatments. And that's all I can say about that, YouTube. Consult with your doctor. It's not a draft. No, it's a mobilization. So of people in the reserves and people with prior military service. At least it's supposed to be, but it sounds like, it's Russia. They're fucking up and actually getting some people who don't have any prior military experience too. Russia having one of those having grinders like having won one in the battle, like in Game of Thrones. Oh no, that'd be funny. Ball and cry. I like that. I'm gonna have to remember that, Eric. Eric says ball and cry took down the chat for the Jones trial. Too many truth bombs. It's a problem though when you start talking about the frogman, it's hard not to get into the truth bombs. It's a minefield full of truth. Gotta take off. We'll have a good one. Furby Slayer, it's the pipeline's being used as an excuse to take NATO into the war. Oh, 100% I agree. It's in an intentionally expand. Remember the rumors of Z getting kicked out? This rumor comes right as Iran is going through a soft boogaloo. I'll wait and see. Yeah, I agree. We should wait because yes, there was a whole idea of China's got a coup going on, and then nothing happened. Oh, first Coolio, now Khomeini. Yeah, I forgot to mention this, guys. If you weren't aware, Coolio is no longer with us. Rest in peace, man. Hope you really are in the gangster's paradise up there, you and Tupac. A common lawyer says, consult your doctor. This is not medical advice. No, really, though, talk to your doctor. Oh, Robbie Parker has yet to testify. Yeah, that'll be very interesting when that happens. So, yeah, and you're right, Harris. The First Guards Tank Army got its ass handed to it. But remember, I think a lot of that issue in the North is because they stripped everything bare to go to the South to protect the center and also Kherson. So I think the Russians were willing to give it up, but they've given up a lot more than they intended to. Oh, Chaucerian, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Long time no see. Gina saying Robbie Parker testified today. We'll have to see. Oh, maybe he did. So next thing we could talk about tonight. Okay, where do I have it? Share screen is our favorite man, Alec Baldwin. You guys remember good old Alec? So Alec Baldwin, if you guys remember, pulled out a revolver on a movie set like an idiot and pointed it at Helena Hutchins, one of the cinematographers or whatever the hell she was, and shot her and killed her. I thought it was fake. Well, there's been a lot of investigation. A lot of the people have been interviewed in the meantime. I know just recently released was the interview by Jensen Ackles. You guys remember him from Supernatural, and also if you guys watch The Boys, he's Soldier Boy. He's a very uh, he's a very well trained person when it comes to firearm usage, and his interview is just brutal with the police. He wasn't on the set; he was actually somewhere else on the ranch when the shooting happened, so he wasn't in the room. But he had nothing good to say about what was going on. In the meantime, though, this was released by the prosecutor, and in New Mexico, they are called district attorneys, and they also operate in judicial districts. That's how they do it. Every state is different. Some states it's by county. So here you go, and this is to the New Mexico State Board of Finance. And this is very interesting because this first part here talking about emergency grant funding, we're not worried about that part. I don't care about that part. It doesn't it's not super relevant. What is, and actually we're gonna oh, hmm, sorry guys. Why did this not open in this did not open where I wanted it to? Like an idiot. Where did it go? Okay, this is much easier to read it's much easier to read in Adobe. Number 1, number 2, I paid for Adobe, so we're gonna fucking use Adobe. God, I swore again. Dang it. I was doing so good. Doing so good. So we're gonna start reading through this. And the most revealing part to me, and I mentioned this because I actually talked with Legal Vices about this yesterday, is this second paragraph here. And it says in October of 2021, Rust movie production was taking place at the Bonanza Creek Ranch in Santa Fe County. Okay, well that doesn't sound bad. It gets it gets a little more spicy though. During during the filming of this, oh, that's because it's oh no, that's why it's not working. It's their watermark. Yes, during the filming of this movie, Alec Baldwin, why do you suck so bad? Alec Baldwin shot and killed Helena Hutchins and injured Joel Souza while rehearsing a scene. Oof. Oof. That is a very powerful statement. That is 100% accusatory. Not on this day, Helena Hutchins was shot and killed or lost her life or there was a tragic accident. No, she's coming out saying Alec Baldwin did her up. Whew. Yeah, that's not good. They talk about many individuals handled the gun that ultimately killed Hutchins and injured Souza. They've been waiting for the FBI evidence to be examined. And I know we covered this. I covered this with Runkle many, many months ago. The FBI results, the gun was in fully functional. There's no way it would have gone off on its own. Um, if charges are warranted, and this is where it gets like she's using wiggle worm room words. If charges are warranted, I think you'd have an idea pretty much right now if charges are warranted. It also does sound like Alec Baldwin finally gave up his cell phone data, so they're going to go through it. The first judicial district anticipates prosecuting up to 4 individuals, and her expenses will be immediate and costly. Oh yeah, somebody was asking. I'm going to try to do if I can do some of the Brooks trial next week and what's going on. I will. Like I said though, I've got a bunch of crap coming up, including. I mean, I've got this month is bad. I've got a couple of trials set, so we'll see what happens. And yes, we're definitely covering Sarah Boone. Sarah Boone is not till the first week in November. Yes, Jensen Ackles was on set. He was like right outside the church where it happened. It was very, very close by. Yes, that was the scary part about this because the scene they were practicing, Alec Baldwin was supposed to point the gun at Ackles. So yes, he kind of dodged one. He dodged a bullet here, very literally. Yes, for aggravated assault, do you need to intend to cause the apprehension? Because if you get Souza saying he was scared pre-gunshot, there's your felony murder. It's possible, but I don't think so because I think all the information's been released. I don't think there's anything indicating Souza was scared. Yes, I don't. Yeah, Lizzo. Okay, good for her, I guess. I mean, her song "Rumors," the beginning of "Rumors" is kind of a banger, but that's all she's got going for her. So, A Dubs is saying Alec was defending himself from poor lighting. I'm yes, Josh. I'm 100% correct. I'm skeptical until this happens, till they actually do it. Jonathan, maybe someone was trying to sabotage Soldier Boy. Yeah, somebody was trying to kill off season 4 of The Boys, which, by the way, if you guys haven't watched The Boys on Amazon, is a phenomenal, phenomenal TV series. Getting back to this though, it gets very interesting. She is requesting an emergency funding grant of $635,000. She said she's going to need funding for an attorney, investigator, media contact, paralegal, expert witnesses, and general expenses. So she knows she's going to need money. She's going to need it quick. She said most of the defendants are going to get separate trials and won't want to be tried at the same time, and they won't want to be. That's going to want to be done separately. And yes, it's going to be a very long process. These trials are going to take a while. This case will take a while to go. But yes, she talks about 635 grand is what she needs. This gap funding will assist the office in a competent, thorough prosecution of the individuals responsible for taking the life of Hayla Hutchins and injuring Joel Souza. Like I said, when she comes out and says Alec Baldwin did it, and then she says this sentence here, I know we've gone over this before, guys. I am very much on the side of. How are we? Okay, hold on. I am very much on this side of he's not going to get prosecuted. I'm all the way over here. But reading those sentences and the way she phrased it, I'm kind of here now, a little bit. I'm like here. I'm a little closer to the middle, but I'm still like maybe 30% likely he's going to get indicted. But that moved me from like 5% to 30%. I mean, those are very powerful words. Very, very powerful words. Gina saying, isn't the most Baldwin can get 18 months? You know, Bronca said it, yes, if they can only pin him for involuntary manslaughter, yes. But they might have the ability to get him for murder. Who knows? They might have the ability to get him for a bunch of different crimes. We don't know yet, and they might have evidence in that phone or from somewhere else they're looking at. I do think it's important to show, though. I know people were kind of freaked out about all these things that were going on. Here's the other board of finance. Like, we need an emergency grant for money. What she fills out. You know, she talks about the nature of the governmental services, what they do here. But the interesting part, and I don't know if you guys have ever thought about this, there is a lot that goes into, and I mentioned this to Jeff, there's a lot that's involved in prosecuting a case. A lot that's involved. You're going to need a public information officer. Because remember, just like Johnny Depp, this is a battle of in the public. Okay? You're going to need a paralegal. That paralegal is going to have to help the attorney they hire because here's the deal. That office is probably already handling enough crap. So you've already got a caseload to throw this onto another attorney's lap, this massive case that's going to eat all your time, then they won't get anything done. They're going to need an attorney or two just solely to focus on this case. It is going to be a massive time sink. Or if they have more hands on deck, then everybody can help a little bit. And that paralegal will probably be able to help that. Keep everything in order, make sure all the things are done. The investigator. $97,000 for an investigator might be 2 investigators. That might be to furnish overtime for the investigator they currently have because that guy's already going out and helping deal with the cases they've already got on hand. Maybe that's gonna go towards, overtime for the officers or the detectives they're using instead. I don't know. Who knows? The expert witnesses, yeah, who knows what they're gonna use or what they'll do. Um, Trial prep materials, 80 grand, but transcriptions, just like in Johnny Depp, you're in a trial that big, you're having transcriptions done and made available to you within like 30 minutes of the day being over. And I brought this up before, a misdemeanor trial. I had one where I helped the guy do the appeal. I did the appeal for somebody. He had a misdemeanor trial, and it was a bench trial, and it was probably an hour and a half long. The transcript was like $1,500. So imagine how big it is during a all-day trial, and just one part of that, one day at a time. And it's going to get edited, formatted, and presented in a way you could use it the next day. That's a lot of money, a ton of money you have to deal with. Supplemental questionnaires to the juries, office supplies, every every sheet of paper. I mean, how much paper do you think would be involved in this? A ton. You're going to have to print it. Well, that toner cartridges, folders, pens, pencils, all of that adds up after a while. Then there's travel and lodging. Maybe they're going to have to put a expert witness up for a night or two, or maybe they're going to have to go conduct an interview and they got to go out of town. I don't know. Who knows really what they're going to do? Who knows what they're really going to do? Um, it could easily be a million different things. I mean, I don't know. Just something to think about. But there's a lot of money involved. Where is Oh, you guys some of you guys don't like boys, yeah. Chaucerian fraud saying 30% of the law from 0%. Like I said, I was like a 5% chance. Yes. Those give me an idea this could be very real. Brent saying he should definitely be indicted. I think he should too, but I don't, you know, is this going to be her way of saying when they don't give her the money, she could say, well, look, guys, golly, I tried. It just didn't work. Aw, shucks. And that way she doesn't have to try him. Who knows? Who really knows? I don't know. We don't know all the politics involved. I would bet, yeah, Chaucer, you're right. He definitely sends a ton of crap on there that would look awful if he did it. I don't think he'll do any time. Well, maybe. Could you explain what felony murder means? Murder is already a felony, so I assume it's something else. Felony murder is murder that occurs while you're committing another felony act, a separate felony act. So if I commit a bank robbery and somebody in the bank gets killed, that's felony murder. If I'm committing any number of felonies and somebody dies as a result of me in the commission of that felony, that becomes felony murder. I mean, it does happen. It does happen. And maybe there's a felony there where he intentionally, while they're on set, he says, well, I'm playing with the gun, showing them what they need to do. He could easily have been, oh, you know what, Helena? Here's what I think of you guys. Fuck, boom. I'll show you what's up. You talk to me. I'm Alec Baldwin. And I could easily see him waving around a gun. You don't talk to me like this. How dare you? Do you realize what I could do to you? And waving a gun around like a lunatic. And if anybody was scared, now you're menacing someone with a firearm. That probably is a felony, threatening them with harm. It's like, you're lucky this isn't real. And I swear to God, I'd kill you with it. But it is real. And then he. So who knows what happened? I don't think we have that footage. And the camera was undoubtedly rolling. It's Better Call Saul, yes. Oh, you guys are answering the question. Oh, good job. Chaucer says, so robbing a old lady, she dies from the stress. It's gotta be attenuated. I mean, you gotta be able to show it's correct there. Harris is saying he's not just an actor in the film, but also a producer in a position of authority. So everything he's done and everything below those have done could be pinned on him or not. In a civil case, yes. But as Jeff and I covered, he's got a massive indemnification clause personally. So he's probably going to escape any civil liability. But there's no criminal liability there showing he was in charge of the organization. Eric Foams talking about, but he's an actor. He gets special privileges from Reddit. Chaucer says, I will believe in the legal system when a homeless man has the same odds as a billionaire with a law firm working for him. Yeah, no lies detected. Huh. Nice green. That's not what I was drawing. That was a rocket on wheels getting moved around. Aaron's saying, how much distance needs to exist between the felony and the death? Surely, if you're committing a battery and the victim dies, that's not felony murder. No, that would a lot of times would just become murder. If I beat you and then you die, I committed murder. I committed an assault that took your life. I mean, that's really what murder is. It's an assault where someone dies. When will we know who's getting charged in the Rust case? When we learn. We won't know for a while. So let's see here. Yeah, Alpha Fox saying, yeah, Aaron, you're getting into superseding and intervening causes, and that's always a question. And that's always, where did the chain of liability stop, and when did some other event take over? And those are arguments to be had all the time. You guys are talking about, is Banshee the one where it's like a former skinhead who becomes a cop, and then Homelander's in it also? Because if it is, I think I'd give that one a look at. Harris is saying, who on the set of Rust can be charged with the crime because the report mentions multiple people. If they're talking about 4 people, it's probably the 4 people who are Alec Baldwin, Dave Halls, the assistant director, or the second. I don't know whatever his name, whatever his job title was. The guy who said it's a cold gun, Hannah Reed, and then fourth, I could see, and this is Jeff was thinking this. They could go after the Seth guy who supplied the ammunition. Because if he mistakenly loaded things wrong, then that could be his fault. But I don't know if they could show that. I think ultimately, though, there's 2 people who should be charged: Alec Baldwin and Hannah Reed. Alec Baldwin, obviously, because he pulled the trigger, and Hannah Reed because it was her job to make sure people did not get hurt, and she completely screwed that up. So those are the only 2 I think should be charged. Okay, Ethan saying, if I beat this is turning into law school. No, we're not doing law school tonight. No, I fought tooth and nail to get out of that place. Banshee is Homelander's a con man who takes the identity of the sheriff. According to a very short attorney, it depends is pretty much always the answer to a legal question. To an extent, it depends. I think there's times where you can give some basic answers, but yes, this would be an it depends, but generally speaking, you've committed one act. Oh, that's season 3 of Banshee with the skinhead plot. I forget where I saw it. I think I may have saw it on Twitter, but I'll take a look at it. Yamaha biker saying Baldwin's clause stipulated doing firearms training, safety, and he refused. That would be a violation of the clause contract. It might be, but then you have to figure out how big of a breach that is. Where do the liabilities go? And I still think he's indemnified. He has a very bulletproof indemnification clause, at least from what I saw. 96 people watching tonight. Guys, yeah, please, thank you. Please give me a like and well, also give me a subscribe if you are going to. I'd appreciate it. I think David Hall's is worse liability wise. I don't think so. Hannah Reed had the obligation to make sure the guns were safe, not have live ammo anywhere near that set, and the stuff was all mixed around. She put the guns together and left them on a cart and walked away. At some point, Dave Hall has to rely on her, and him, did he? And now I think he's gonna have to admit he didn't actually check and say it was a cold gun. But does that his liability is so small. Yeah, I think it really comes down to Alec Baldwin and her. They should charge her for that yellow and purple mullet. That was awful. Yes. So I will definitely take a look at Banshee, you guys. I am finishing up. I just finished up the Jeffrey Dahmer miniseries with the guy from American Horror Story, and it's really good if you haven't seen it. And then my girlfriend and I were watching Mindhunter on Netflix, which isn't bad. It's got some parts where it's a little slow, but it's okay. And Banshee might be next. That sounds like a good one, especially after watching Succession, which was absolutely amazing. Tsugi Suomi is saying, I don't know. It sounds like someone other than Hannah gave Baldwin the gun. Sure, Dave Halls did. I don't like the idea of a world where Baldwin gets off scot free and they throw a patsy under the bus. I 100% agree. I think ultimately, though, Hannah needs to be charged regardless because she is the foundation upon if she does her job and does it right, then there's nothing else there. Everything else just goes poof. For want of a horseshoe nail, a kingdom. So had she done her job, then Helena Hutchins never would have died. I mean, she's got the baseline. She's the foundation of it all. So at the very least, her. A-dubs, I learned this many years ago. Actually, now, 15, 6, learned this almost 20 years ago from when I was an RTC. One of the instructors, Master Sergeant Strange, said, if we're a fifth, right? If we're a fifth, we'd all be fucked up by now. Yes, I think that is a great one to remember. A name of some sort said, I applied to Dayton Law. Am I a gigatard? Well, yes, apply to Toledo. At least you might get shot in Toledo. It'll be fun. And once in a while, Lake Erie might turn full of algae and you can't drink the water. So that's just my pitch. Sweet Tooth Fairy saying, how in some cases do people get 3 murder charges but only one person dies? Because they can charge you under alternative theories of murder. If it was an intentional murder, maybe it was an intentional murder, you can be charged in the alternative. It's also like a lesser included offense, too. They can charge you a couple different ways. Yeah, Evan Peters. Okay, yeah, the American Horror Story guy. Yeah, Billiam is saying I could have been pulled off the street to be the armor and nobody would have heard about this movie. True. If Hannah Reed had done her job, even after the couple of the shootings, after the couple of discharges, sure, nobody would have heard about this. Let's say Alec Baldwin did shoot and he put a hole, he's screwing around with his gun. I'm Alec Baldwin, I can do whatever I want. You don't tell me what to do. Boom. And he misses Helena Hutchins by like an inch or two and puts a hole in the wall. We never would have heard about this. Maybe it would have showed up in Variety or some industry publication, but ultimately we probably never would have heard about this. That's the interesting part. Us hearing about it, not hearing about it was all about being a foot to the left, and we never would have heard about it. Bocephus, yes, you're 100% about Hollywood. I think David Hall would make a deal to testify. He might. We'll have to see if they. We're not even close to that point yet. Aplexity says Dayton is overrated. Yes, it is. Jonathan says, "LOL, you can OD and get Narcan all day long in Dayton, though." Yeah, yes, they don't have heroin and fentanyl in Toledo or anywhere else in Ohio. It's just in Dayton you can get Narcan. You can get Narcan all over the place. I could probably go find some Narcan right now, sitting out in my front yard. Somebody threw out there. Harris Riley says, yes, but he is still dumb enough to talk to the police and then give them the card of his attorney when he was done. So he's not very smart. He broke a cardinal rule. Yes, all these people went and talked without an attorney present. They're all morons. Never talk to the police without an attorney. Somebody there who's got a clear head and is going to make sure you don't step in a massive pile of dog shit. You need help. What are the odds it's just talk to silence the critics until the heat dies down on the case? It could easily be that, too. We won't know. We won't know what this is until we get farther down the line. Tarkina, how are you doing tonight? Is there any realm where Hannah's liability is offset by her bosses telling her she has to do X instead of Y? The emails telling her to focus on props instead of armor? No, I don't think there should be because that is still your paramount job. Your job is safety. And I'm sure that, her dad being this guru armorer, she probably knew if it's not safe, it's your job to stop it. And she didn't stop it. She had that duty, she knew that duty, and she didn't act upon that duty. I get it. She's probably a nobody, and she was told if you don't do what we say, we'll make sure you never work again. Well, she still should have done the right thing, and she didn't do it. So I don't think she should get off the hook for that. She let all the live ammo be in a trailer with all the blanks on the movie set. There was no need for that. She left guns unattended. She did all kinds of stupid things that she didn't stop. So, yes, Dayton Eplexity says, not just Dayton for the OD, Springfield has it as well. Don't ask me how I know. Oh, I actually I worked in Urbana for a couple of years in the prosecutor's office there, so I know all about Springfield. I know all about Springfield and Clark County and Champaign County. Yes, there's a place in Ohio known as Champaign County. It's the Champaign of counties. What I miss? You missed everything. You missed the Amazon gift card giveaway. So that is done. We've got, oh, yes, the best one of all. So I know you guys know that the FBI is nothing but fidelity, bravery, and integrity. In fact, that's their motto. Well, imagine this: the FBI lied. Well, they misled. Although, when you're misleading a judge, you're kind of lying to a judge. And when you're lying to a judge on a form you submit, that's perjury. So the FBI committed perjury. Shocker, I know. You're doing concrete work in your basement? How many hookers did you bury? Hopefully you smoothed it out right. Noel Dupay, I was watching a recent Chili DeCastro video. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Oh, I also applied for Gainesville Law. So can't even try for UF's main law school or the main. Well, University of Florida is in Gainesville, and then there's Florida State's in Tallahassee. These are all just my backups. Well, good luck, man. Good luck. Good luck, brother. Which I could do like the Star Fox. Good luck. Uh, yes, the FBI lied. I know. Yes, Stabby says Donald Trump. Don't trust FBI. FBI's asshole. Stay away, friend. Brent says, brother, brother, brother. A-Dub says, compost your hookers. Smarter, not harder. Good advice. But let's get to this. What did the FBI do? So there was a company called U.S. Private Vaults, and they operated in Beverly Hills. And what did they do? They were a private company that offered you safety deposit boxes. And this is actually a video of what it was. It looked like it was like a bank, safety deposit boxes. You could do, but they didn't operate under banks rules, so that you could do whatever you wanted in them. You could store all kinds of things. And I have clients that I know who have stored all kinds of things in safety deposit boxes, regardless of the fact they used a bank for it, because nobody knows. I know a guy, he was moving. He didn't have a place to secure. Like, he owned a couple of machine guns, and a couple of machine guns sat in a safety deposit box for like 2 months until he got everything sorted out. It was kind of gnarly to do that, but hey, he did it. It helped. They were like, a Tommy gun and some smaller stuff. But yes, it was pretty badass. So they seized this entire company's, all the safety deposit boxes of everybody in there, and $86 million in cash. Yeah. 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 Good stuff, huh? Good stuff, isn't it? Good stuff. So what happened? Well, when the FBI went in, they drilled and put their way through all the safety deposit boxes. They went through everything. They took videos and pictures of pay stubs, passwords, credit cards. You could store whatever you wanted there. And somebody had the remains of one of their loved ones, the ashes from a cremation in it. They're just, now, hopefully they didn't think it was chocolate milk mix like Cartman did. So this happened about a year and a half ago, and this was a massive raid that got all over the news. I remember it. And what did we learn? Well, people since then have deposed the agents involved, and it turns out they lied, and a lot of them lied about what they were going to do and how they did it. And how do we know this? Well, we found out that, and this is where we get to the interesting part here. The FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office claimed they didn't ignore his conditions. But their plan ultimately was to seize everything they could under civil asset forfeiture, saying that we believe these are the proceeds of a crime, and it's up to you to prove that they're not. Now, the people in charge of U.S. private vaults, the company itself, pled guilty to conspiracy to launder drug money, because that was actually, it ended up working out that way, that people were laundering drug money through there. But it was everybody else, and that was the problem. And here's what U.S. Vaults was going to be in. It's in a strip mall. You wouldn't have never seen it before. It wasn't like in a private building. It was inside a strip mall next to the Jamba Juice and the Shake Shack. Now you get to this person here, FBI agent Lynn Zellhart, who I don't know what she looks like, but I'm assuming looks like a steaming pile of dog shit, was the one who started putting stuff together. And she heard about this. And she just thought this was wrong. And how do we know this? Because she was deposed. And what did she do? Well, she made the affidavit for the search warrant. It took her 6 months to write. That is ridiculous. Now, the reason why the FBI took all the safety deposit boxes is because they wanted not just the computers, money counters, video cameras, and the iris scanners, which is how you got in, was a retinal scanner, but they wanted the nests of the safety boxes and the keys, which is their bullshit thing of claiming they wanted the framework of the things all the boxes were being held in, which was their excuse then to say, well, now we have to open the boxes. Why? Because these guys are greedy assholes trying to steal things from people. Now, the people who own the boxes claim this is like the police seizing an apartment building and then searching every apartment. And that's pretty fair. I think that's a great analogy they did. In the affidavit, Zellhart, remember, this FBI agent made allegations that because you're using a box, it would be irrational for anyone who wasn't a lawbreaker to entrust their assets with somebody who wasn't a bank. So you leave your property with someone else to safeguard it instead of using the bank. That makes you sketchy. Only those who wish to hide their wealth from the DEA, IRS, or creditors would rent an anonymous box. They would rent a box. Oof. Imagine how big a box you had to have to shove like gold coins in it. To Because you don't want to trust the banks, you're a bad guy. Now, what's that going to turn into eventually? Well, you know who uses cash? Criminals. So don't use cash. Use your card. Be a good little boy and only use your card. And use FedCoin because we can track that in the blockchain. Only criminals use cash. We're not that far off from that. But this right here is absolute scumbaggery. Maybe I don't trust the FBI because you guys rely on a goddamn search warrant, and I don't trust the DEA or the IRS. Maybe that's why I want to hide my stuff. Gee, maybe that's it. She then makes up some bullshit about, well, if you go through Chicago, Chicago's a money laundering and drug trafficking way. And that these people were using their safety boxes to store drug proceeds. She had no proof. I just think it's bad guys. Of all the box holders, she only mentioned 9 that were likely doing things illegal or involved in a criminal investigation. But even for those, she cited no specific conduct. And while she said a majority of these guys are going to be drug dealers, she also admits there were non-criminal people involved as well. And those people were meant to be a cover for the criminal activity. And she said, I was expecting a lot of criminals, but not everybody being a criminal. So she already knew that they were going to be seizing innocent people's property. Once again, Lynn, you are a fucking horrible human being. I mean, God, I thought the people with Anan Saeed were horrible. You're almost as bad. My God, how many other warrants, things she's testified on, federal 302 forms she's used? Has she ever been involved in a murder trial and given testimony? I don't know if you could trust this woman. You shouldn't. Anybody who's she's helped convict should have their cases reviewed. I mean, she's just absolutely a scumbag, complete scumbag. And then she tries to claim that one of the U.S. attorneys involved wrote parts of the affidavit that she doesn't actually know the answers for. Well, sorry, once you sign your name on the line, it's all yours. Now, as an attorney, if I sign my name on it, it's mine. If you submit something before the court and you sign your name to it, congratulations. You own everything that's on that piece of paper above your signature. That's how that works. So, yes, the FBI said it was going to extend no further than identifying the contents to identify ownership. But they did all kinds of shitty things, all kinds of top tier scumbag stuff. They were attempting to seize all these things. They ordered and cataloged all the cash in their consolidated asset tracking system to get ready and anticipate they were going to seize it. They got drug dogs to come in to sniff the cash to say, oh, well, the drug dog hit on the cash, therefore it must be drug money. When it's been demonstrated, almost all money in circulation has some sort of drug residue on it. Not to mention, dogs, yes, they're drug sniffers that also lick their butt for fun. I'm sure that makes them truly what they know what they're doing. So here's how they determined whether or not your cash was illegal. Did you have rubber bands on it? Or was it bundled a certain way they determined is criminal? Well, then they suspected it was drug money. Then they talk about the canines coming in. And they admit, yeah, you can't, sniffing it for drugs doesn't help us identify the owner. But once again, the FBI was not looking to give the owners the cash there. Oh my God, you guys are like rolling ahead here. Sorry, I got to catch up. Uh-oh, did something happen again? Sorry, guys, hold on. I'm trying to catch up here. Oh, I thought you said you hate my cadence, Eric. Sorry. Chaucer says, you shouldn't mind the credit card company tracking all your purchases. What are you, a criminal? Yeah, are you some sort of weirdo? Are you like a libertarian trying to live off the grid? You know those anti-government people? This is why Obama limited banks and had them track cash withdrawals of $10,000. It's been a long time, Yamaha. If you pull out $10,000, your bank's filing they're filing reports on that. $10,000, they will file reports on that. So that doesn't matter. Now be careful. Don't try to pull out like less than 10,000 and attempt to avoid it, because even if that's your only goal and you're not doing anything illegal with it, that's structuring, and that's a crime in and of itself. So don't do that. But the $10,000 thing, that's been around for a while. Privacy is dead. Looking like it. Yes. Jonathan says, lol, the butt sniffing drug sniffers. They really are. It's their high-tech machine that licks its own ass for fun. I mean, they use their tongues as toilet paper, yet they can put you in prison based on their snoots. Dogs shouldn't be able to be used in law enforcement at all. Okay, if the dog's meant to go chase down somebody and, do chomp chomp time, oh, that's fine, because that's what they're meant to do. But using them for drug purposes, no. CG says, yes, all dollar bills have probably been a stripper's ass at some point too. Very likely. Very, very likely. Common Lawyer says, don't do structuring. Very true. Don't do it. You will get screwed. And they'll take your money and call it good. Tarkina Meyer says, yeah, we wired $100K to a Mexican bank to buy a condo. Yeah. Oof. Have fun with that one. I hope it worked out. Aris Legacy says, YouTube turned off the notifications. I'm telling you. Like I said, Susan recognizes I'm blowing up. She just knows it's coming. She can't stop what's coming. Mr. K says, all dollar bills have been in my ass. What of it? Ooh. Really? I gotta check out those ones and give them a sniff then that I got in my wallet. So as we kept going, it was interesting because in the raid's aftermath, the criminal case against Private Vaults stuttered to an end and nobody went to prison. The company was sentenced to pay a $1.1 million fine for laundering drug money, but that was it. The company's owners didn't get prosecuted. And despite this crazy warrant affidavit saying it was owned and managed by, it was owned by criminals for criminals to do criminal stuff, but nobody got prosecuted for it. And then she runs around seizing everybody's property. This FBI agent who's a piece of shit. Oh. There have been dozens of lawsuits. And yeah, the Justice Department got tens of millions of dollars. Local police departments that were involved got shares of the money. And there are a bunch of people who abandoned their boxes saying, I'm not going to fight it. It's not worth fighting the government. It's going to cost too much money. That's so fucked up. And when you went on to claim your property, the FBI checked your bank records, your tax returns, your DMV files, and your criminal histories. Why? If it's mine, give it to me. Once again, because these scumbags are trying to steal it from you. And it goes on and on and on and on what these guys did. This is absolutely horrible. In a lot of these asset forfeiture cases, they said the dog smelled cash, or it just was bagged and wrapped in a way that aroused drug trafficking. So you wrap your bands I mean, you do it gangster style, like you got a couple of bands and a safety deposit box. Watch out. That's what drug dealers do. Got them bands, yo. You keep them stacks on deck. Only bad guys do that. Oh God, what rapper was that? Kept on talking about having his stacks on deck and then got robbed. He had like a whole shoebox full. There were other cases where the FBI accused specific people of committing multiple crimes to support the asset forfeitures, but they never were able to offer proof of it, and then they had to give everything back. Absolutely fucking disgusting work by the FBI. Complete shit. And they did this and they get away with it. And nobody's going to be held to task. This Lynn Zellhart, I'm sure she got promoted. I'm sure she's cucking her way to a government pension right now. Think about it. She lied, did all this, and nothing happened. Kevin Kleinsmith did all this and lied, and yeah, he got suspended, but hey, he was having a kid, so I'm sure it worked out for him. And now he's working again as an attorney. Wouldn't work for me. Little people like me, that wouldn't happen. Common Lawyer says, also, if you got cash and stuff over $10K abroad, you got to report it. Yep. Penalty of $10,000 for failure to file. Read those cases. It's infuriating. Yeah. It is crazy that all the different ways they'll seize cash or charge you with a crime simply for not doing something exactly the way they want. Yes, the Common Lawyer says, also, that wasn't legal advice. Yes. Stabby McStabwood says, I follow life advice from the Upright Citizens Brigade. Have you seen yes, I've seen the pennies bit. Okay, Josh, what is structuring? All right. God, I wish I had like a little, hold on here. Okay. So the way structuring works. Let's work. Oh, do I have a whiteboard around here? Okay. Hold on real quick. We're going to be right back. Where did I put it? Gonna tell a story not long ago. Oh, here it is. Got it. All right. Let's do this. Okay. All right. This is not legal advice. This is just general legal education. You're getting the value of what you pay for. That doesn't mean sending super chats. I'm just saying you're getting what you pay for here, guys, and you're getting basically nothing. So here's how it works. So if you deposit $10,000 into the bank has to file. They file reports on that. Okay. Not necessarily suspicious transaction reports, but they file reports just noting that you did that. So if the cutoff mark is, and a Common Lawyer, I know I'm probably, we're not going to get into like the actionalese, but this is just the basic way I explain to people how to avoid structuring, because this is what people will do. So let's say it is roughly, okay. All right, we're going to do this now. Okay, $10,000, right? Okay. If you submit more than that to the bank and deposit it, the bank makes a record of it. And that record goes on to the Treasury Department, okay? So let's say you're like, well, I don't want the bank to know that, so I'm going to do, instead, if that's the threshold limit, instead I'll do $9,000. And you're thinking, well, I could do the $9,000 and then the bank will never won't have to report on it. Okay. Now you might get away with that once. But let's say you own a business and every month you come in and you deposit $9,000, $9,000, $9,000. $9,000. You know, so let's say you do it at the same bank and you go in January, February, March, April, and you do this. You are intentionally structuring things to avoid federal reporting requirements. That is a crime. It's a crime under federal law. Or another way it happens is, let's say you've got, you know, like, let's say you live in a city and there's a bank, there's a bank here, there's a bank here, right here. And let's say when you make your deposits for cash, you go to the same bank. So let's say you have whatever bank you have, Huntington Bank, PNC, Key Bank, whatever. And you go to all the banks in your town and you don't go to the same one every time. Every last Friday of the month, you go to, in this case, you go to a bunch of different banks and you go to each one and you submit the $9,000 there instead. Or you bounce around from branch to branch. Or maybe you have bank accounts with different banks and you're bouncing around like this, okay? Or you might have a brother or you might have a couple of friends and you give them the money and they run all over the place and do it. That's structuring as well. You cannot do something to avoid the federal reporting requirements. If that is your intent, and they are good at catching this because the government likes to steal your money, that is structuring, and you can't do it. Now, you might think, well, that's bullshit. It's my money. And you know what? You're right. But the government did this. Why? Oh, because of a terrorism and because of this and that. And why? It's because, well, traditionally structuring was considered money laundering. It's part of money laundering, and it's also known in the banks. It's also, if you know somebody who works in a bank, if you hear him talk about smurfing, that's what it is. And what is it in the United States? It's where it's what part is it? Um of 31 USC 5324, I think. So here it is. And like I said, guys, this is not legal advice. This is just the basic, like 10,000-foot view. I'm sure other attorneys can do it better than me. Structuring transactions to evade reporting requirements prohibited. Okay? No person shall, for the purpose of evading the reporting requirements of any regulation prescribed under any section, shall do any of the things. Cause or attempt to cause a domestic financial institution to fail to file a report, or maintain their records. Causing that to happen and intentionally doing it. Okay? You're not allowed to do this. And the government goes after you for that. There's international transactions, there's criminal penalties. You could face up to 5 years in prison. Whoever violates this could be fined for more as a part of a pattern of legal activity involving $100,000 or more in a 12-month period. Could be fined twice the amount. So remember, if you're doing a business and they can screw you a ton of different ways, and it happens all the time. Challenge accepted. The largest armed robbery to date. We used to have gallows for thieves, 100%. 7-Eleven is an inside job saying, I said I was sorry. Jonathan says, how does this translate to golden jewels? Oh, that was Soldier Boy with the stacks on deck. Okay, and I hope that made sense. God, I'm so far behind. I gotta catch up. Pull a Destiny and open MS Paint. I thought about that, but I don't want to be Destiny. Divinity, hello. Hi, Div. How you doing? Yeah, I thought about using Paint, but why the whiteboard? What's wrong with the blackboard? Do you love blackboards? Yeah. See, instead, I've got the proud and noble black marker all over the white place. And instead, if you use a blackboard, you've got a blackboard getting covered up by that white chalk. And that's not fair. Stop being such a boomer. Just use paint or something and share instead of using a whiteboard. And what if you do 10,001? Well, then they're going to file a report. If you over 10,000 or more, there's a report. It's not like if you go over 10,000, they're like, darn, it's 10,001, no reporting. Eris is saying I was thinking 999. That would cause an issue. And yes, sleep. Yes, you're right. Then it's a suspicious transaction report. Yes, once you start doing this, the banks will notice, and then they file it, and then the feds get involved because they don't want to get in trouble. Because the bank gets in trouble, it's bad news. And the people working at the bank, if they don't notice it, they get in trouble personally, and that's not good. Mr. K saying so 8,999. No. Bosif is saying, I hate I hat the e-government so bad. I know the e-government's so bad. That sounds like ballot harvesting in 2000 mules. I mean, sounds very fortified. Charles Forrest is saying there was a small business that set a cash amount of on-hand limit of $10,000 for insurance purposes, and so would make multiple 10,000 deposits to keep cash on hand under 10K. The accounts receipts exactly because that once again they assume you're doing this and they seize your money, and you're just trying to do something. I'm just trying not to get in trouble, and that's what happens. Public safety, yes, yes. Jonathan says, "Don't go to the banks and call everybody Smurfs." Yeah. Do they have to prove you did it intentionally? Yes. They have to prove you have to, as it says on here, um, for the purpose of evading the reporting requirements. Now, I don't know exactly how the jury instructions are set up, but there's likely a jury instruction saying there's a presumption you were intentionally doing this. Especially, like I said, if you're doing, you know, if you're doing all these transactions month after month after month and you're bouncing all over the neighborhood, there's a presumption your actions can be, your intent can be inferred from your actions. So they do, but they can, once again, your actions can be used to show intent. Hunch the Dirty Roofer said, I never answered your question when I was on with Legal Mindset. I don't remember which one you asked, so ask it again. What about $9,999.10? Yes, yeah, yeah. Throw an extra quarter in there, and the government's going to say, "Son of a bitch." Yeah, it doesn't work that. Does not work that way. It does not work that way. Okay, I just you got to be careful. So no, it doesn't help. Tool. Okay, I'm not. No, can't. That Nero. No, can't. I don't need YouTube coming up my ass for talking about evading federal money laundering laws, because that actually might get me in trouble. SG Blues is like, I thought it dropped to 600. No, that's for you, and that's businesses reporting transactions. So not necessarily the bank, but if you run a business and you get paid in cash over $600, you're supposed to write out something that you paid that and keep records of it, in that way they can tax people and track it. Yeah, it's not just banks, retail employees are trained to spot structuring too. Yeah, that if you're coming in to buy certain stuff, because that's how you launder money. You purchase items, you purchase other things with the money to clean it. I'm Turkey Meyer. Is there a cover sheet on the suspicious transaction reports? Oh my god, Mr. K. Mr. K says, what if I take a loan and make a habit of depositing $999, and then when I start my criminal enterprise 2 years later, I can get away with it. Oh my god. Don't do any of this, guys. Please don't. Did you hear about the Graham is saying, "Hey Graham, by the way, how are you doing tonight? Did you hear about the civil rights lawsuit that Anthony Huber's parents filed against Rittenhouse? Yeah, it's going to go nowhere. I'm sure, maybe you should have done a lot better and made sure he wasn't out breaking curfew while he was on parole for trying to kill his girlfriend. Anyway, he got center punched. That's all that matters. I'm sure this lawsuit will suffer the same fate his chest cavity did. It'll get blown the fuck out." Yamaha Biker says just buy and stuff mattresses. Yes. See the video of the homeless guy stabbing the EMT? No, I have not seen it. Oof. Sounds rough though. Just tell you how to evade money laundering charges in Minecraft. Yes. Well, you got to mine a bunch of wood and then you submit it in a special way. Oh, yeah. A lot of people are going that way. It's easier to track. It's hard to track cash. Uh, Jonathan says, "What are they suing for the remainders of his bicep?" No, that's Gage Grosskreutz. That's not Huber. Huber's the guy who got shot in the Huber was Skater Boy, and Kyle said, "See you later, boy." The Mithril King says, "So we presume guilt now." Well, the government does, yes. 7-Eleven saying, "Have a good night, probably criminal." Thanks. Mr. K says, "Off to the national park then." Oh, you're gonna try to go to the spot in Yellowstone where you can murder people and get away with it? I mean, you're probably gonna get killed getting there by the wolves and bears that roam that area. Yes, Kyle Levine. Nero saying, "I love how race comes into play with the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, considering all involved have German names." Yes, but I think the biggest one is Grosskreutz. Remember, Big Cross. You know who else defeated the Big Cross? Jesus. So Kyle's just like Jesus. He defeated the Big Cross. Oh my God! Something. I hope that gets clipped for presumed guilty January 6th. 100% true. Chaucer says trying to play the government is like trying to drink just enough roofies to stay awake. Yeah. Graham is saying, could Kyle Rittenhouse sue the estate of Anthony Huber for assault? He could, but what's the estate of Anthony Huber have? It's not as though he had a life insurance policy that paid out. You get his skateboard and his you probably get the jackets and shirts and clothes he has that don't have a bullet hole in the middle of them. I mean, you could take all that stuff, but that's the guy has no money. He was a loser who beat on women who was out on parole. How much stuff do you think he actually had? Whatever happened to Grosskreuz's lawsuit? If he sued the city, it's probably I don't know. They might settle for him, but if he sued Kyle, it's not going to go anywhere. Kyle was acquitted, and he also admitted he looked like. I mean, his testimony is going to be used against him. I think he had a civil attorney, but I think the way, that civil attorney had to have just been shaking their head listening to him testify, where he's like, "Yeah, I was gonna kill him, and I was a bad guy myself, and I'm a member of a subversive communist militia." That's gonna sell well to a jury in Wisconsin. Everyone likes to talk about the smartest criminals, yet they always seem to forget the three-letter agencies. Yep. Very, very true. Very true. Graham says they could sell Huber's skateboard as a member of Velia. Oh my god, that would sell for so much. Jonathan said Rosenbaum. Yep. Yep, the way to do it. um, 109 likes. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, Div. I appreciate it very much. Nero says, Kyle's getting, yeah, Kyle's laying pipe, man. Good for him. He should be. Yeah, CG's right. He admitted that he lied about having his firearm that night. Yep. Mr. K says, is he though, or is he just simping? He's like 18 years old still, man. Look, when you're 18, it's kind of acceptable for you to be a simp at that age. I- when you're 18, okay. When you're 28, no. So Harris Riley saying the FBI just got brand new houses, cars, jewelry, and STDs. Everything is fine and completely legal, Sean. You're just overreacting, said the public information officer from the FBI. Yeah. Yes. It's all going according to plan. All right, guys. Well, oh wow, an hour and 50 minutes. Yeah, we had some fun tonight. So I think we're gonna wrap it up. I know Joe and Legal Mindset are going. I might figure out. Well, here, let me wait. I don't think they've added me so I can link them. Harris, I see your email now. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will take a look at that. And like I said, Alpha Fox, I did see your email earlier today. So let me see, will this work? Okay, let's see if I can set this up. Because, guys, that's going on right now. Nick has I Hypocrite on tonight for a guest. I think that'd probably be a very interesting show. If you guys are interested in looking at what's going to happen later. Oh, Deet customization. Yeah, here we go. Redirect ad. Videos from other channels. Oh. Okay, well, never mind. You can't. So, okay. Here. Just go and go see Joe. Here's the link. Everybody have a great weekend, and I will see you guys. We'll see what goes on next week. We might be covering Darrell Brooks, who is representing himself in the Waukesha Parade Massacre trial. I forgot to cover that. I did cover his hearings on Tuesday and Wednesday from in their full entirety. So go watch them, and I will see you guys later. And remember, until next time, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty.